Hello everyone and welcome to the Dev Method. Today we're going to talk about getting ready for WWDC 2021 because it's right around the corner. It's a little less than a month away and there's some things you need to do to get prepared. Now you don't have to do these things. These are just my suggestions and my own thoughts. But also for people who have never really experienced WWDC before, I want to give you guys a little preview of like what to expect. So the first thing that would be on my list is, review what happened last year. And that ties into the second thing, which is get the Apple developer application. You can get it on your phone, your iPad, your Mac. You can even just go on the website and look at the same content there. And I tell you to do that because that's where all the videos are going to be, and you can make favorites and stuff like that. So what I would say is go back to last year, watch it. It knows if you've watched something already, so just go ahead and watch things that you haven't watched yet that you wanted to. Maybe you've lost interest in a couple things, so maybe unfavorite them, or maybe you're just like such an expert like you never need to see this video again. Yeah, so like that's what I would suggest doing first. The next thing would be if there was something that you haven't watched yet and you're watching it, like the code along, there was an application called Fruta that was made. So go ahead and just follow along with that. See if you can learn anything, pick anything up, review. I know in the last year, a lot of us, we can't always use the newest APIs, and it takes more effort to use them, and then not our full user base is on the latest iOS version to start. So you might not get time to actually write a lot of these features for the newer APIs. So what I would say is go back, review a little bit, because most likely those APIs are going to expand. So it might be Swift UI, might be something else. Widgets was a big one last year, and there's just so many new things about that and so many new creative ideas on how that works. But there's also intricacies in how it functions. So not just what it looks like, but literally how it functions. Like the small one, the small widget, like the smallest version of the widget is just one big tappable view. Whereas if you pick the medium size or larger size, there's actually like 2 tappable areas or maybe 3. So you get what I'm saying here? There's a lot to learn that you might have glossed over the first time. So go back, relearn. So that'd be my first thing of what you should do. So next thing is what to expect. So I would say what you should expect is something almost exactly like last year. I don't think there's going to be any differences. I mean, I guess that's speculation. I have no clue. But my guess would be, this is not a format that is normal for a lot of developer conferences. Typically, you'd have a lot of people coming in and there'd be some sort of like open registration like the day before on a Sunday. But Monday morning is the day you want to look for. Now, I'm talking about, I guess, Monday morning Pacific time. And that's because it's all based off the time zone where Apple's headquarters are in California. But I would say the first thing you look for is the keynote. When does it start? So typically it's going to start 10 a.m. Pacific time. So depending on where you are, set your alarm or reminder accordingly for that time. And you'll see it. That'll be posted on the website. That'll be available for the public and for you as a developer. You might be able to watch it through the developer app. I don't remember exactly, but the Apple TV app's pretty good. There's an events app, and that'll stream it to everybody as well. So it's kind of for everybody. It's a really high overview of what the new version of iOS, iPad OS, Watch OS, TV OS, Mac OS, all the OSs, you get an overview, and it's more or less user-facing features, not necessarily the nitty-gritty, how does it work, how does that change your application, how does that change the way you do your day-to-day. So that brings me to my next thing is, since this is a developers conference, well, what's in it for the developers? Well, typically, after the keynote, the next half of the day, after lunch, there's going to be a platform's State of the Union. And so that one's actually probably the more popular one out of all of them. So at least for developers, that's where you get the idea of what's new in Xcode. So your day-to-day, tool that you're using to build these applications. So that's going to be huge. There might be some improvements there. There might not. I don't know. Everybody gets a little something. Things change, things don't. You'll see, I guess. I don't know. Like last year, there was like tabs within tabs, and that was a little weird. And then there was like a close right feature, which I don't think actually ended up in the latest version of Xcode. But either way, maybe it did. I don't know. I haven't even tried that feature. But either way, that is something that's, something to expect. And like widgets, they'll kind of explain some of the new things there. They'll probably explain some new things about Swift UI and whatnot. So typically all these new things are not backwards compatible. They're for the new version of iOS and further. So that leads me to the next thing, is the betas are probably released that day or maybe sometime later in the day or the next day. So the betas, what I'm talking about, are the developer-only betas that you can run on your phone, your iPad, your Mac, whatever it is, Apple TV, Apple Watch. So these betas are strictly just for developers, and the whole point is to get your current app running on this new version of iOS without any problems. There shouldn't be, a launch issue. Like if you can launch your application now in iOS 14, you should be able to launch your application without a crash in iOS, 15, probably what it's going to be called. But then you get to also like add on the new features, try them out. And the biggest part about these betas is that, they're there for experimenting. They're not there to put on like your personal phone and start using the new features. That's not really the purpose. Although I guess you could do that. But if you really just want like the wallpaper, I would say you probably just Google search that. You'll find it online somewhere. Probably shouldn't be existing online somewhere, but you get what I'm saying. So the next thing that's on the list is the developer presentations. So developer presentations include very specific features, very new APIs. Sometimes there's like the boring stuff, like what's new in networking. And I guess like for some people that's going to be great. Other times, sometimes people don't even go to these parts of the SDK because they use like a library that is a wrapper around it that maybe makes it more convenient for you. So for example, if there's something new with networking, maybe you're using Alamo Fire. So I don't know, just pay attention to when Alamo Fire updates and maybe you get a little new feature in Alamo Fire. That's just one out of many. But there's going to be something there for everybody. There's going to be something new. Like last year, there was the widgets, of course. I've mentioned that before. I think the year before that, there was like a different default animation for presenting things, more of like a card style where you can swipe down with your finger. I don't know. That's maybe something to know about and you should test out in your application. And this is actually a really great reason. I'll bring this up multiple times in my videos, but testing, super important. If you're testing your application, you're finding the defects and bugs before your users do. And you don't want your users to find them. First of all, because they don't tell you about them, at least not all the time. And sometimes they get so frustrated with them that they'll just leave your app. So, test your stuff. And that's why the betas exist. And that's why you're getting all this information from, the developer presentations. But favorite the ones that you like. Go back and rewatch them. They'll be probably available again 10 a.m. Pacific time. That'll start like Tuesday. At least that's what happened last year. And then you got Wednesday and Thursday and then Friday. So new videos every day. Just favorite the ones you like. Watch them at your leisure. A lot of people are working during the day, so don't worry about watching them live because they're all pre-recorded. So another big thing here is that there's actually like these developer forums. And if you've never looked at them before, I don't even know the website, but you go to the developer website for Apple stuff and Apple platforms, and you'll be able to sign up 4 times to see or like get questions and answers from developers. And last year I did not participate in this, but I believe it was maybe some sort of WebEx thing, but you weren't able to see the person, but you can screen share and share your code. That's a huge part of coming to WWDC. So big thing here is, after you review all those videos from last year, review the information from last year, as you've been developing your new features, you come up with issues, or you come up with ways you think the API should work instead. So write down all these questions to get them answered in the developer one-on-ones. So that's just something to think about as well. But don't leave the Apple developers as the only people of your resource. So this brings me to another thing is go check on Twitter, look for hashtags, search what you think might be a hashtag, and you'll find a lot of Apple developers in and around this week talking about the new stuff or just getting excited. And those will be your new friends to ask questions to. They might have their own workarounds that they've worked with if you come up with issues, or they might have better ideas. And you're searching for an idea, so you want to know, what might be a possible solution for yourself. So the big thing, go on Twitter, look around. I'm sure there's other social media platforms, but Twitter's been the one I found is really successful. You'll even find Apple engineers on there too. They don't really comment as much, and you probably can't ask them confidential things, but I guess don't abuse that public citing of an Apple developer with stuff like that. Just watch what they're saying. Just follow them. Maybe add a reply if you have a question. And that leads me to another thing is, if you find a defect, file a radar, or at least that's what they say. And that means file a defect so you can give feedback to Apple, especially early on in the introduction of these APIs. You might think it should work one particular way, but it doesn't, and maybe it should have. These are really early betas, so expect some issues, expect things not working. I wouldn't put the betas on your personal machine because if you have other applications or even websites that need to work in a specific way, you could lose your data, it might not work, and you might not be able to work in your own environment at your job. There might be security protocols and stuff like that. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily download the beta just for fun. Only do it if your work gives you clearance and you need to do it. And if it's your own personal hardware and it's your only Mac, I wouldn't download the beta. Maybe you could try out the beta of Xcode, but I don't know, make a copy of your project and open up that copy. Don't open up the original. Who knows all the things you might start trying to do, and then you mess up your project file, and it's a pain to try and fix later. That's why you should use version control, make a branch just for the new betas or something like that. One last thing I want to mention is take breaks. Don't totally, go out and watch all the videos and all at once and right when they come out. Just give yourself a break. You're a human. Your brain will thank you later. I know you'll get adrenaline and you'll want to watch all the videos in a row, but it's a lot and you're going to miss stuff. So just give yourself some time. And if you don't understand it at first, don't worry about that. You can watch it again. You can go online and ask questions and get help from others. So don't fret if that's you. And, that happens to me every single year. So yeah, your brain's going to hurt, and that means you're learning. So that's a good thing. And have fun. Don't, I guess if there's something that comes out that you don't like and it's developer related, these people have been working on this for a very long time. So I'm not asking you for them to be polite, but just keep that in mind. It'd be like going up to a coworker that worked on a different feature than you and, trashing their work and without even asking, you just go up and say hey, I saw something you wrote a year ago and it stinks. So don't do that. Be kind and keep in mind they've worked just as hard as you on the projects that they're working on. All right, thanks guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, have a good time and let me know what you're thinking for WWDC in terms of questions, or maybe let me know what you're relearning that you hadn't learned from last year. Otherwise, take care. Have a good one.